dance, and play music. Do it in special places called music halls. It's not what you think. I'm not greedy at all. I'm fine with sharing my candy. But do you know what happened to little Taylor? Well, the values little Taylor. In a land far, far away, there lived a little Taylor. He loved eating sweets like honey and jam, and it would attract flies and came from all over the kingdom. The little Taylor did not chase off these flies, so these annoying insects came to believe that they were free to do anything they wanted. One night, they got into the refrigerator and gobbled up all the little chocolate glazed cream puffs. Well, no one could take this much suffering, so the little Tailor grabbed the chocolate on the table and swung it at the flies with all his might. And these flies got up and left in a jiffy. The angry little Tailor put a chain around the fridge and slapped it. And then he wrote a scary warning in the front of his t-shirt. I am a strong man in my prime. I'll fight 7 at a time. Then he went to the bakery and he bought himself some fresh chocolate glazed cream puff and he headed home in a great mood. The little Tailor was walking down the road, nipping at his pastries, then boom! He met a giant. The giant read what was written on the little Tailor's t-shirt. Surprise! What do you mean you'll fight hard? The giant got very curious, so he said to the little Tailor, if you are so brave, let's have a contest to see who is mightier. If you win, then I promise to tell you a giant secret. But if I turn out to be stronger, then you'll be in giant trouble. The giant looked around and found a huge rock on the road. He picked it up and broke it right in two. The little Tailor was so surprised that he dropped his last cream puff. You see how strong I am, said the giant. Now it's your turn. The little Tailor knew exactly what to do. He picked up the cream puff. He dropped it forward as it was a heavy rock and squeezed it so hard that the cream came out and it hit the giant in the nose. The giant was shocked. He'd never met a human before who could squeeze cream from a rock single-handedly. He must really be the strongest man ever, and the cream was a human crop. So now the giant had to tell the little Tailor, maybe scary gigantic secret. On a high mountain there grows a 100,000-year-old tree. If you climb high up into this tree, you will find a deep hole in the trunk. And at the very bottom of this deep and dark hole stands a huge refrigerator. And this refrigerator is full of ice cream, cream puffs, chocolate cakes, and cookies.
गाइस
But
आवाजें आ
there
रही
is
है क्या?
someone who guards this treasure, a dog with
Yes या no?
eyes as huge as a bicycle wheels. And he is
आप
on the
लोगों को
lookout
मेरी
for
आवाजें आ
anyone who
रही हैं?
tries to harm, eat those sweets.
गाइस
But don't
आप
be
लोगों
afraid
को
of the
मेरी
dog,
आवाजें
said the
आ रही
giant
है?
to the
यस
little
या नो?
Tailor. Grab them and place them in my apron, and the dog will calm down
हेलो
very
गाइस,
quick. You can then bravely open the refrigerator and eat all the tasty
हेलो
things your
हेलो.
heart desires. The little Tailor was so happy that he would be able to eat
अरे
sweets
कोई तो
nice
बताइए,
and
मेरी
healthy.
आवाजें आ
And
रही हैं?
so he wanted to climb up the tree. He found the hole and peeked inside. And it was just like the giant had said.
हेलो हेलो
There was a
गाइस,
refrigerator,
कोई तो
there
बोलिए,
was a
मेरी आवाजें
dog
आ
with
रही है क्या आप
big
लोगों को?
eyes. Before the dog had a chance to do anything, he ended up on the apron. He sat there and
लाइक
watched
दीजिए
with
गाइस,
tears
लाइक
while
दीजिए,
little
लाइक
Tailor
दीजिए प्लीज.
moved his tasty treasure. And the little
अरे
Tailor
वो
acted like there was no tomorrow. He got into the refrigerator and off
हेलो
down the
गाइस,
table went crunching, munching noises. The little Tailor gobbled
क्या
up all
आप
the
लोगों को
sweets.
मेरी
He
आवाजें आ
tasted
रही
them
हैं?
delicious,
यस या नो
and they
गाइस,
were
प्लीज टेक्स्ट मी.
looking happy. He sat in the refrigerator
टेक्स्ट
for
टू
a
यस
nice
योर
long time.
नो.
But when he tried to get through, he realized his whole belly
मुझे
was full.
रिप्लाई कीजिए
The little
यस
Tailor
या नो
thought
में,
so
प्लीज
bad
गाइस.
that he couldn't get out or go back in. He was stuck in the
कोई तो
hole.
रिप्लाई
So
कीजिए
there he
यस या
was,
नो.
sticking out of the hole. Everyone laughed at him, and soon he lost all that weight. That's what I'm telling you. It's not healthy to out of shape. Do you know why I'm memorizing the multiplication table? That's how I train my memory. You memory fast because you train properly and follow my habits to you. Alibaba. Once upon a time, there were two brothers in the Middle East, Qasim and Alibaba. Although it might seem kind of strange, the older brother inherited everything, the male, the donkey, and even the cat. And the younger brother inherited nothing at all. Alibaba scratched the back of his head and said to himself, "My older brother is rich, but he will never give me a bite of halwa or a sip of sherbet, so I need to come up with a plan." It took Alibaba a while, but finally, one day, he got a really genius idea. I'll gather some firewood in the forest, sell it at the market, and use the money to buy myself a meat pie. So Alibaba went to the forest, walked around, picked up some sticks. Suddenly, he heard some whistling and strange stomping noise. Alibaba got scared and said, "I must have made the local genies mad." But these were no magic genies, just some ordinary thieves. There were 15 of them. They were carrying a treasure chest. And the captain of these scary pirates, no, I mean the chief of these scary thieves, barked out, "Open, sesame!" Everything started to shake like there was an earthquake. And that's the secret door of the cave opened up in the mountain.
No.
The thieves carried the treasure chest into the cave, very fast so no one could see them.
कहाँ से मिली?
Well, that's what they thought, that no one could see them.
कहाँ से मिली
But there
तुमको?
was a reason that Alibaba was the best student. He saw it all and
Hello guys, hello.
so as soon as the thieves left the cave, Alibaba came out of the bushes and said, "Open, sesame!" And that's how he ended up in the magic cave. There were also
अच्छा, इनमें से कोई बता सकते हैं ये रॉकी भाई ने, जिसने भी रॉकी भाई हैं, ये लड़की का पिक्चर क्यों लगाए हुए हैं डीपी अपना? एक लड़की का डीपी लगा हुआ है, लिखा हुआ है रॉकी भाई।
Alibaba played with the train set for a while before going into the third room, and it was full of such beautiful clothes. There were ball gowns, skirts of all lengths, t-shirts with sparkling rhinestones.
हेलो गाइस, हेलो, आवाज़ें आ रही है गाइस आपको? गाइस आप लोगों की मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है? गाइस मैं लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग रोज़ इसी वक्त करती हूँ, 10 से 11 में भी 12 भी चल जाते हैं टाइम। मैं रोज़ इस टाइम करती हूँ लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग। अगर किसी भी तरह के मेरे कंटेंट से रिलेटेड आपको क्वेश्चन है तो आप करिए, लेकिन आप मेरे चैनल पर नए आए हैं तो प्लीज़ मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए। मैं रोज़ इस वक्त लाइव जुड़ती हूँ, मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर ले गाइस प्लीज़। जो भी न्यू व्यूवर है मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए भाई, मुझे भी ग्रो करना है। इतनी मेहनत से 1 साल बिता दिया, 1 साल लगा दिया इतनी मेहनत कर करके। मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लो गाइस। कनेक्टिंग
The door stood and open. Then Captain banged on it with his head. Suddenly, the door opened up, and the chief of thieves was standing there. "Why are you trying to break my door open, patient one?" "I forget what they call the thieves they put on the top of their minds." That's Captain. "Why do you make me so big for?" asked the chief of thieves. "You must break it. I'm going to give you this book of beverages to memorize, so you can tell them to me in bedtime. After you've told me every one of them, you can go home. Until then, oh, pretty one, you'll stay here as my prisoner." So because of his stupidity, Captain had to stay in the cave. I'm not sure for how long. They say he was there for 1,000 days and 1,001 nights. That's what I tell you. You won't have to depend on cheat-sheets if you train your memory. What are you looking at me like that? Oh yes, I can see it in your eye. You are judging me like a book by a cover art. But even an ugly duckling can have a very beautiful soul. And now I will tell you a fairy tale about that. Cinderella. Once upon a time, there was a girl who lived in the kingdom of far far away. She really wanted to go to the ball at the palace. The problem was that she never did all the chores around the house. All work and no play makes us dull kids. And it's all because of these horrible housework. Cinderella did all the laundry. She washed all the pots and pans. And every day she cleaned the fireplace by taking out the ashes. By the way, that's what Cinderella means, little ashes. In the meantime, the king had decided to throw another ball at the palace. And not just any ball. He invited everyone. He said there would be an all-you-can-eat buffet of cookie, candies, and ice cream. And that there would be dancing all night long. Cinderella became very happy, but then she became very sad. That's because she only had one dress to wear, and it was very dirty. So she had no dress to wear to the fancy ball of the royal palace. And then suddenly, the good witch showed up and said, "I'm your godmother, and I will help you. I'm going to turn your old tattered house dress into a beautiful ball gown, the most fashionable one of the season. But there's one thing you must remember. When the great tower clock at the palace strikes midnight, you must leave at once because your beautiful ball gown will turn back into a house dress." Cinderella was so happy as she checked out her reflection in the frying pan. Then came the evil stepmother. "Where do you think you're going all dressed up? We have a whole bunch of nuts in the house that need to be cracked, so get to work right now." That's when Cinderella grew really, really sad. To crack that many nuts, you could ruin and break all your teeth doing that. How can you smile at the ball if you have no teeth? Then the good witch showed up again and gave Cinderella something that looked like a wooden Pinocchio, with a nose this long and a mouth that was this wide, and the teeth of a hippopotamus. "And who could this weird nut be?" asked Cinderella. "He's not a weird nut. He's a nutcracker," replied the good witch. "Look how well he can crack the nuts. Crack, crack. It's all done." Cinderella was able to crack all the nuts right away. And she liked the nutcracker so much that she decided to take him with her to the ball. Cinderella was walking down the road when suddenly she saw the king. "Oh, your majesty," said Cinderella, "why are you so sad?" The king sighed heavily and told her, "How could I not be sad? I had a ball at the palace, but then the rats showed up and threw me out." Just then the nutcracker stood up and said in a very human voice, "Don't you cry, your majesty, I will come to your rescue." He started to play his nose like an elephant playing a trombone. And he played such good music that the king started to dance along to it. As soon as the rats heard the sounds of the trombone, all their willpower simply disappeared. And the king took the broom and swept them out of the palace. Everyone was so happy, and Cinderella gave the nutcracker a big kiss right on his long nose. Suddenly, sparkles began to appear everywhere, and the nutcracker started to transform into the prince. And when his transformation was over, he said, "Up until now, I was under a spell, and now, my dear Cinderella, I am so happy that I would like to offer you my hand, my heart, and also these pretty glass slippers." Just then, the tower clock at the palace began to strike midnight. Cinderella got scared that the prince would stop loving her when he saw her in her old house dress. But the prince didn't care about that at all, because his love for Cinderella was real. That's what I keep telling you. You may judge someone by their coveralls at first, but you fall in love because of their great inner qualities. Wondering why I decided to study foreign languages? Because I don't want to end up in a situation like this one Caliph from a fairy tale. Just listen to this.
Caliph's story.
A long time ago, there was this Caliph, the ruler of Baghdad. He was so sad and unhappy that he started crying his eyes out like a little baby. All sorts of doctors were called in, and they tried to help Caliph, but no one could make him happy again. And then one day, a strange little man showed up at the palace. He was very short, but his nose was very long. He had donkey's ears and stuck out under his turban. And there
हेलो
was a
हेलो
parrot
हेलो
who
गाइस,
shouted
क्या
to
आप
him,
लोगों को मेरी आवाज़ आ
"Oh,
रही है?
Caliph, I came to help you," said the little man. "I know exactly how to make you happy again. Eat this fruit, do a somersault, and then shout very loudly. Marathon! Oh no. You shout, Matador! No, not Matador. What's the foreign word that we were supposed to say? Oh, I remember. Do a somersault and then shout very loudly, Mutabor! Then you'll be able to turn into any animal, bird, or fish you want to. And after you do your transformation, you'll be able to understand what the animals are talking about. But remember, if you laugh, you will forget the word luchador, and you won't be able to turn back into a human again. Caliph ate the grape right away. He did a somersault and then shouted, Mutabor! I wish to turn into a stork. And boom, Caliph checked himself out in the mirror. He had a beak instead of his nose. His neck was long, his head was small. His legs were like sticks and he had a little tail too. It's like a fun house mirror. Caliph couldn't help it and started laughing so hard that of course he forgot all about the outlandish, boorish word. Just like that, Caliph's sword clipped his beak.
जी हो गिर
So he couldn't turn back into a human again. Then the little
चलो तुम
man
अपना
climbed
बैठो
to the
लेटो
throne and told Caliph, "That's the end of you, my little birdie. Now I will be rude about that. You mean I can't take it down."
बेटा पेपा अभी नहीं देगा, इसके बाद देगा, ठीक है?
And he started to tears again. Worse than before. Okay, stop crying, little man.
हेलो गाइस, हेलो
French, 1 hour.
गाइस, मैं इस वक्त रोज़ लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग करती हूँ। मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए आप लोग। और लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग के थ्रू मैं अपने चैनल से रिलेटेड आप लोगों से टॉपिक चलाऊँगी। गाइस प्लीज़ मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लें।
That's when the parrot told Caliph, "Listen to what I tell you very carefully, but be sure not to laugh again. The little guy with the long nose is really the evil wizard. He turns an illiterate person into wild animals. And this is his name, Rumpelstiltskin." As soon as Caliph's stork heard this, he rushed over to the evil wizard. The evil wizard was sitting on the throne, kicking up his feet. The Caliph shouted at the top of his lungs, "Hey, you Rumpelstiltskin! Get off my throne!" The evil wizard got really annoyed. "How did you find my name?" And he got so angry that he exploded into pieces. After the evil wizard had exploded, the evil spell was broken. And Caliph turned back to a human again. He looked at the parrot and he couldn't believe his eyes. Instead of the parrot that had been there a second ago, beautiful Princess Jasmine was standing before him. Caliph was very happy. He married her, and right after the wedding, he went to school and started to study. So he would not turn into an animal.
गाइस आप लोग बोलते हैं ना कि मैं इस वक्त फेस क्यों नहीं दिखाती हूँ। हेलो गाइस, हेलो गाइस, गाइस आप लोग बोलते हैं ना कि मैं रात को स्ट्रीमिंग करती हूँ लेकिन फेस क्यों नहीं दिखाती हूँ। इसका एक और रीज़न है। रीज़न यही है कि मेरे हस्बैंड अलाउ नहीं करते रात को फेस दिखा के लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग करने के लिए। वो वीडियो बनाने के लिए अलाउ करते हैं, लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग करने के लिए अलाउ करते हैं, बट रात को एट नाइट ये सही नहीं है। ये मुझे भी लगता है कि ये सही नहीं है, लेकिन मेरा टाइम टेबल फ्री इसी वक्त होता है जिस वजह से मैं लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग करती हूँ, क्योंकि लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग भी करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग के थ्रू हम लोग अपनी दिनचर्या के बारे में बता तो सकते हैं, लेकिन आज जो लाइव है वो एक ब्लॉग से रिलेटेड है, मेरी लाइफ के ब्लॉग से।
His pants were torn and had patches. His shoes had holes in them. Marry him. No one would even go out with poor Jack. The widow knew he needed nicer clothes, but there was no money, so she thought about it. She thought very hard and very long to sell our spotted cow. With the money you get, you can buy yourself a new suit. So Jack put a leash on the cow and headed to the market. But the road was
मैं जब भी बात करती हूँ आप लोग बाहर निकल जाते हैं, आउटसाइड हो जाते
He
हैं.
got tired and lay down under a tree to rest. Just when he started to doze off,
आप जो कुछ भी सुन रहे हैं ना, ये एक रियल स्टोरी स्पीच है.
and saw an old maid. Jack was very surprised, and the old man told him, "My boy, let me buy this spotted cow of yours, and in exchange for your cow, I'll give you a nice little bean." To tell you the truth, Jack really didn't want to walk for miles and miles to the marketplace to sell his spotted cow. So, without further ado, he agreed to this deal. Jack and the old man shook hands. The old man got the cow, Jack got the bean, and pleased with himself, he headed for home. When the widow saw her son without the cow and without a suit, she got very, very scared. She thought he'd been robbed by the highwayman. But Jack told her, "Don't you worry, Mother. Just look what I got in exchange for your old spotted cow. I got a brand new little beanie, and I have never seen a nicer shade of green." The widow just threw her hands in the air and said, "Oh, what a simpleton you are, my son." Then she grabbed the bean and threw it out the window. Jack was really surprised. Why did she get so upset? He yawned and quickly went to sleep. When Jack woke up in the morning and looked outside his window, he couldn't believe his eyes. Overnight, the bean had grown up to a humongous, enormous bean tree. The bean tree was so big and tall that its top reached all the way to the clouds, high up in the sky. Jack could hear a song coming down from the clouds. He was curious to know who could be up there singing the song, so Jack started to climb up the bean tree. He fell down once, he fell down twice. Should he give it another try? Why bother? "Hey, you! Up there!" shouted Jack. "Can you tell me how to climb this bean tree? For some reason, I kept falling and falling." There was no answer for a while, and then a strange-looking rope was thrown down to him from above. Jack looked closely and saw this rope resembled a girl's braid. Jack was so happy, he gave the braid a good yank, and a beautiful princess fell down and landed right next to him. As it turned out, it was really her braid. The princess straightened out her crown, curtsied, and said, "I probably have bruises all over my body because I slept on all those beans. Thank you, my good friend, for bringing me down off the tree. I am so grateful. I am ready to be your bride." That's how it came to be that Jack got married, became a king, and got half the kingdom too. That's what I'm telling you. Maybe I will grow something very interesting in my vegetable patch too, just like Jack. But I have to make sure no pests get into my beautiful garden. So I'll say goodbye now. I have to go stand guard. Please eat, my dear little toy friends. Even though you are not the newest of all my toys, you are my favorite ones. I'll tell you a good fairy tale now.
The swineherd.
In a kingdom far, far away lived this one princess who was very fussy. More than anything in the world, the princess loved mechanical toys, especially those that were very intricately made. In her palace, she had a mechanical nightingale, a Jack in the Box, and an artificial rose that looked very realistic. In the neighboring kingdom, there lived a prince who was very kind and who really loved animals. This prince loved cats, dogs, horses, and even little piglets. The kingdom where the prince lived was not a very big one, but there was plenty of room for everyone, like a real zoo. One day, the prince took his pigs out into the meadow and saw the fussy princess with her ladies-in-waiting playing with the a mechanical nightingale. Oh my, what a beautiful princess, thought the prince. I really should get her a nice present. The prince chose the puttiest and pinkest piglet of all of them, and he sent it to the princess. He also sent her a letter with the piglet offering the princess his hand and heart. Oh my, what a lovely little piglet, the princess screamed. So putty and pink, it must have cost a fortune. Just listen to the sound it's making. It snorts almost like a real piglet. Ew, said the ladies in waiting. That's because it is a real pig. What? It is not a toy? Said the princess, and blinked her eyes, looking hurt. This prince can take his pig along with his hand and his heart and stay far away from my palace. How dare you treat me, a princess, like a pig? The prince, of course, was hurt. He locked himself up in the workshop of his kingdom and started to tinker with something. And about a week or so later, the princess was playing in the meadow, scaring her ladies in waiting with her jack-in-the-box, and suddenly she heard some music. It was the prince, dressed up as a swineherd, sitting on a tree stump. He was holding a wonderful pot. All around it were little bells, and on top was a lid made of gold. Ding-dong, the little bells kept ringing. Oh, you're here, Augustin, Augustin, Augustin. Oh my, what is this lovely thing? The princess asked him. This here is a magic pot. I'll show you how it works. Little pots make food, the prince said. And right away, porridge started to appear in the pot. It smelled so good and looked so tasty that all the pigs from all over the kingdom came running over in the meadow. The princess tasted the porridge and tasted some more. Yummy, yummy! And then she started to fight. I want this pot! I want this pot! Buy me this magic pot! Right away! So the ladies in waiting asked the prince swineherd, how much do you want for this pot? It's very expensive. You can't afford it, said the prince. How dare you talk like that, you silly swineherd? Tell me right now how much it is, or we will shoot all your little piglets away. I'll take 100 flicks on the princess's forehead in exchange for this pot. You impudent swineherd, cried the ladies in waiting. But there was nothing they could do, so the princess had to suffer. The princess returned to her palace, put the magic pot on the table, rubbed her forehead, and said, little pot, make food. Little pot started cooking.
ये देखिए मेरा न्यू फिल्टर लगा। ये मेरा पुराना वाला फिल्टर है। लोग न्यू घर में आए हैं तो थोड़ा सा काफ़ी ज़्यादा ये हो रही है। देखिए मैं आपको एक चीज़ दिखाती हूँ, आप ध्यान से देखना। आपको कुछ दिखा रही हूँ मैं, ध्यान से। ये हो गया। ये है नया घर का लुक। वीडियो ब्लर आ रहे हैं तो उसके लिए माफ़ी चाहते हैं गाइस। वीडियो ब्लर आ रहे होंगे। ये मेरा किचन है, प्यारा सा किचन। ये देखिए थोड़ी सी ब्लर आ रहे होंगे। ये आप देख रहे हैं सामने, किचन के सामने बेसिन है। किचन के सामने बेसिन है गाइस, आप जो देख रहे हो। पिक्चर्स। मैंने आप लोगों को कई बार बताया है कि मैं बेल स्टैंड करके ही रखनी चाहिए। बेलन और चकले को हमेशा स्टैंड करके रखनी चाहिए गाइस। सो चलिए मिलते हैं फिर अगले न्यू स्ट्रीम के द्वारा। वीडियो में बने रहें, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लें गाइस। जय हिंद, जय भारत, गुड नाइट।